Welcome back to the deep dive. We're doing something a little specific with the timeline today. I want you to imagine we are setting the clock to right now, January 2026.
Right.
And we're taking a hard, kind of forensic look at a government experiment that has been running for exactly 8 months.
That's right. We are zooming in on Panama City, Florida. But this isn't, just a story about local ordinances or zoning boards.
No.
This is really a case study on a much larger question, one that I think applies to almost any city in America right now.
Exactly. We're looking at the administration of Mayor Allan Branch. It has been 8 months since his inauguration back in May of 2025.
Right.
And the reason we've pulled this specific stack of research, the city commission minutes, the election data, that institutional transformation report, is because Branch represents a very specific hypothesis.
It's the businessman-politician hypothesis, but, well, with a modern twist. The question is, can a tech entrepreneur, someone who built and sold software companies, can he actually run a municipal government like a startup?
We hear this all the time in national politics, right?
Right.
Run the country like a business. But usually that just means, cutting taxes or deregulation. The branch model, as we're calling it in our notes, it seems different.
He does.
It feels more structural, like he's trying to rewrite the operating system.
It is structural.
Yeah.
And that's why this deep dive is so fascinating. We aren't looking at theory anymore. We have 8 months of hard data. We have the friction points where, Silicon Valley theory hit the brick wall of Florida state bureaucracy.
So our mission today is to just strip away the campaign slogans. We want to deliver a progress report. Who is Allan Branch, really? What did he promise the citizens of Panama City?
And what has he actually built in these first 8 months? Where are things getting stuck?
Okay. So to understand the experiment, we really have to understand the scientists. Let's unpack Allan Branch, the candidate.
Let's do it.
Because on paper, he is this very specific paradox of insider and outsider. He's not exactly a career politician.
He really isn't. I mean, if you look at his bio, he ticks every single box for the hometown hero. He's a third-generation entrepreneur in Bay County.
Wow.
His family's been there since, the 1940s? Running service stations, restaurants, car washes. He didn't just move there for the weather.
Right. He's a Bay High graduate, class of 99. I saw he's actually in their Hall of Fame.
He is.
And he played Division I football at UAB. So, to the local electorate, he isn't some tech bro parachuting in from San Francisco to tell them how to live.
No, he's got the scars from the football field.
Yeah?
He has the local credentials, the discipline of an athlete. But then comes the pivot that really defines his worldview.
Right.
He didn't stay in the car wash business. He went into SaaS software as a service. He founded a company called Less Accounting.
I love that name, by the way. It implies the product's promise right there in the title. Do less of the boring stuff.
It does. And that's a massive clue to his philosophy. He built that company, sold it for 7 figures, a really significant exit. And then, instead of retiring to a yacht or moving to Austin, he doubled down on Panama City. But not as a politician, at least not at first. He came back as a developer.
This is the history class brewing company and El Weirdo phase, right?
Correct.
These are those downtown revitalization projects I've seen mentioned.
Correct. And this is crucial context for you, the listener. When he ran for mayor in 2025, he wasn't running on some abstract political ideology. He was running as a frustrated user of the city's services.
Huh.
He had been trying to renovate blighted properties, trying to bring business back downtown, and he just kept hitting red tape.
He literally had a campaign page titled Gofty's Broken. That is not subtle. That is a developer screaming at the permit office.
Not subtle at all. He framed the city government not as a civic institution, but as a service provider with a terrible user interface.
A bad UI.
Yeah. He talked about the maze of broken processes. And that message just landed so hard with people who were tired of waiting in line.
And we have the election results here from April 2025. Decisive feels like an understatement.
It was a landslide. Branch took nearly 69% of the vote.
But, we have to be fair to the context. It wasn't just Branch's charisma or his software background.
No, the incumbent, Michael Rohan.
He had a very rough landing at the end of his term.
I was looking at the transcripts from WMBB News 13 about that period. It was chaotic. It felt like every week there was a new headline.
Chaotic is the polite word for it. You had ethical investigations. You had a harassment complaint filed by a city employee.
And the Ethics Commission finding probable cause about the fake paperwork on the Beach Drive project.
Yeah. The public trust was completely eroded.
So the electorate was just desperate for a clean slate. Branch comes in with this nearly 70% mandate and a platform called A Small Town with Heart,
Right.
which sounds nice and cozy, but the mechanics underneath were all about efficiency.
He had 3 pillars. First, better communication, which he immediately reframed as customer service.
Second, efficiency spending smarter, not just more. And third, cutting red tape, specifically that one in, one out rule for regulations.
Okay, so that's the pitch. May 2025, he takes the oath. Now we fast forward to today, January 2026.
The honeymoon is over.
The honeymoon phase is officially over. Has he actually turned City Hall into a startup, or is it just a new coat of paint?
Well, if we look at that institutional transformation report, there are some really clear wins, particularly in what we'd call the front end of government, the interface.
What does that look like in practice? Is it just like a better website?
It starts with culture. The biggest shift is communication. He introduced these no-scripts town halls.
Okay.
Now, for a traditional politician, an unscripted town hall is a nightmare scenario.
Oh, yeah.
You can't control the message. You don't know who's going to ask what.
It's so high risk. One angry resident with a smartphone and you go viral for all the wrong reasons.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But Branch leaned into it. He framed it as neighbor to neighbor. He also started doing these video updates on social media where he explains the why behind decisions.
Like a CEO updating shareholders.
Very similar. But my favorite detail is the feedback loops.
The stickers. I saw this in the notes and I had to laugh.
Yes. They put QR codes and feedback stickers on City Hall doors and in email signatures. It's the same logic as those "How was my driving?" stickers on trucks.
Or the smiley face buttons in airport restrooms.
Exactly.
It sounds kind of trivial, but it fundamentally changes the relationship, doesn't it? It turns the resident into a customer with a right to complain.
Precisely. Rather than a subject petitioning the government. And it creates data points. If the permit desk gets 50 sad faces in a week, the mayor knows there is a bottleneck immediately.
That is pure software logic.
Debug the system.
Speaking of software, I saw they finally killed that old utility billing system.
Yes. Effective January 1st, 2026, they moved to Invoice Cloud. Again, it sounds boring. Nobody gets excited about paying a water bill, but the friction of the old system was a major complaint.
So reducing that friction is part of the brand.
It is. And they're doing GIS mapping for parking, too. Interactive maps so you know where you can park downtown. It's about modernizing the tool set. But, and here's the pivot, you can't pave a road with an app.
Right.
Eventually, you have to pour concrete.
That's the big question. Software is scalable. Concrete is heavy and expensive. How is the hard infrastructure faring under this model?
This is where the branch model gets really aggressive. In January 2026, so just this month, the commission allocated $1.5 million to stand up an in-house paving crew.
Wait, explain the significance of that. Usually you hear small government conservatives wanting to outsource everything, privatize it. Branch is bringing it in-house.
He is. And it's a concept from the business world called vertical integration. Think about Amazon building its own delivery trucks because FedEx was too slow. Branch looked at the data and saw that third-party paving contractors were expensive and, more importantly, slow.
So he bought the equipment and hired the guy so he can control the timeline?
Exactly. If a pothole needs fixing, he doesn't want to issue an RFP, wait for bids, and wait 6 months for a crew to show up. He wants to send his crew. It's all about speed of execution.
That is a very specific business mindset. It's not just save money, it's control the supply chain.
And we see that same mindset in the MLK Rec Center. This facility just opened on January 16th.
Big project.
It's a $21 million project, mostly FEMA money, but a significant city investment of about $6 million too.
I looked at the amenity list. It is definitely not the rec center I grew up with. I didn't see just a dusty weight room.
No, it has STEM labs, recording studios, and dedicated esports rooms.
Esports, you mean like competitive video gaming?
Yes, and that is the branch touch. A traditional mayor builds a basketball court. A tech mayor says, where are the kids actually spending their time?
Yeah.
On screens, right? So let's build a safe, structured environment for that. It's modernizing the very definition of recreation.
I also want to touch on the zoning changes. The Neighborhood Downtown Initiative, this feels like it connects right back to his time as a developer.
It does. They passed a zoning reform that allows for missing middle housing, duplexes, cottage courts, smaller lots.
And missing middle is that urban planning term, right? It's the stuff between a giant apartment complex and a single-family McMansion.
Correct. And that type of housing has effectively been illegal to build in many American cities for decades because of zoning laws. Branch legalized it again.
So he's trying to engineer a vibrant ecosystem.
He wants density. He wants people living downtown, walking to those breweries he helped build.
Okay, so if we're keeping score on this report card, better communication, modern billing, an in-house paving crew, a high-tech rec center, and new zoning, that's a strong first 8 months.
It is, but
Here comes the but.
you knew it was coming. Government is not a greenfield startup. You inherit legacy code. And the biggest legacy bug in Panama City is the marina.
Ah, the downtown marina, the white whale. This has been a sore spot for a very long time.
Since Hurricane Michael in 2018, this spot has just been a tragedy. There were all these grand plans. Option F was the famous one.
Oh, yeah, the giant amphitheater.
Giant amphitheaters, hotels, a massive destination. But nothing got built.
It was just pretty renderings on a website.
Because it cost $100 million that the city did not have. So in December 2025, Branch pivots. He introduces the bootstrap strategy.
Bootstrap, again, pure startup lingo.
It means start with what you have. Instead of waiting for a magical investor to drop $100 million, the city commission authorized $10.25 million to build the first 50 slips and the essential utilities.
So forget the hotel for now. Just get some boats in the water.
Exactly. It's the minimum viable product, or MVP. In tech, you don't build the Ferrari first. You build a skateboard. Then you put a handle on it, make a scooter. Then you add a motor. Branch is building the skateboard. He wants that waterfront active now.
And are the citizens okay with just a skateboard?
Well, that's what the charrettes are for. They just held these intense design meetings on January 21st and 22nd. The idea is to let the citizens help design the uplands, the park space, the dry land area.
That they're not waiting.
No, the key difference is they aren't waiting for that design to be perfect before they start fixing the docks. They're moving in parallel.
It's a really smart contrast to the St. Andrews Marina, which I notice is a totally different model.
Totally different. St. Andrews is a $25 million public-private partnership with a private group. So Branch is actually running an A/B test. Downtown is the do-it-yourself model. St. Andrews is the partnership model. We get to watch which one works better.
That's fascinating. But let's talk about where the model is failing, or at least where it's stuck. We have to talk about the beach drive path.
Ugh, this is the headache. This is where that startup speed hits the bureaucratic wall.
So give us the layout. This is a 1.6-mile path connecting downtown to St. Andrews right along the water. Sounds like a no-brainer for a guy who likes walkability.
In theory, yes.
Yeah.
Branch loves it. He cites safety, tactical urbanism, connecting the neighborhoods. And there's an $8 million state appropriation just sitting there to pay for it.
Free money. So what's the problem?
The problem is the road itself. Business 98. It's owned by FDOT, the Florida Department of Transportation. And FDOT has very, very rigid standards about lane widths and freight traffic.
And the residents on that road aren't exactly thrilled either, are they?
They are fiercely divided. I was reading the comments from the open houses. You have residents claiming it will destroy the ecosystem, cut down historic trees, ruin privacy. But the bigger issue is the trucks.
Right.
You have heavy freight moving right next to where they want to put pedestrians and cyclists.
And the clock is ticking on that $8 million.
That's the use it or lose it risk. If the city and FDOT can't agree on who owns the road or how to design the path, the state takes the money back.
This feels like the absolute limit of the branch model. You can't hack the Department of Transportation. You can't just A/B test a state highway.
Exactly. The mayor is used to being the CEO. In a company, if you want to change a policy, you change it. But here, he's dealing with a stakeholder, the state of Florida, that doesn't report to him.
Yeah.
That is a friction point that charisma and tech buzzwords can't easily solve.
I want to bring up one more reality check. The money. Branch ran as a fiscal conservative. Spend smarter. But there was a hiccup with the fire assessment.
It's a significant hiccup.
Yeah.
During the campaign, Branch was very critical of the fire service non-ad valorem assessment. We call it the fire tax.
Right.
He wanted to lower it.
That's a standard campaign promise. I'll cut your fees.
But then reality called. In September 2025, when they actually looked at the budget, they realized they had a $7.28 million bill for fire services. They couldn't cut the fee. They actually had to reimpose it. $150 for homesteads, $300 for commercial.
So the campaign promise met the balance sheet.
It highlights the tension. You know, you can be entrepreneurial, you can look for efficiencies, but you still have to pay the firefighters. You can't disrupt the cost of a fire truck. It costs what it costs.
That's a sobering moment for any outsider candidate. It's easy to say government is wasteful until you actually see the line items.
So true. It forces a certain maturity on the administration. They learn that some costs are just fixed. no matter how much you dislike them.
But I don't want to end on a downer, because for all the talk of paving and taxes, there was a moment in January that I think really defines the soul of this administration.
You're thinking of Maybelle Whitfield.
Yeah, I am. Maybelle Whitfield Way.
Tell the listeners about this, because this isn't high-tech, but it really matters.
Maybelle Whitfield lived to be 105 years old. She lived on the corner of Flower Avenue and 16th Street for a century. Not 10 years, not 20, 100 years.
That is just incredible stability.
And the administration renamed the street in her honor this month.
For a mayor who talks constantly about the future, about software, about esports, taking the time to honor a 105-year-old matriarch of the community, that sends a signal.
It signals that he isn't just trying to turn the city into some sleek, faceless tech campus.
Right. It grounds the efficiency in humanity. Same with the garden club restoration. I mean, these aren't money makers. They're community builders.
So let's bring this all together. We are 8 months in, January 2026. If you had to grade the branch model right now for the citizens of Panama City, what's the verdict?
I'd say the culture shift is an A. The transparency is real. The move to digital is real. The energy is different. People feel like someone is listening thanks to those feedback loops.
And the execution.
The execution is a solid B+, I think, trending upward. The Bootstrap Marina plan is smart. It breaks the paralysis. The paving crew is a bold bet on self-reliance. He's definitely building things.
But Facumin is real.
The friction is significant. The Beach Drive stalemate proves that a mayor is not a king. And the fire tax proves that fiscal gravity applies to everyone.
It's the classic startup journey, isn't it? You have the vision, you have the pivot, and then you have the scaling problems.
Precisely. 2025 was the year of the vision. 2026 is going to be the year of the grind. It's all about execution now.
So here's the thought I want to leave our listeners with. We are watching a live test case. Can you really run a city like a nimble startup?
That is the question.
Yeah.
And I think the nuance is this. The branch model works brilliantly on the things the city owns. It's building, it's paving, it's parks. But the open question is whether a customer service mindset can solve problems that are actually about brute force politics and state-level bureaucracy.
That is the $8 million question sitting on Beach Drive right now.
It is, because customer service is easy when you own the store. It's a lot harder when you're renting the building from the Department of Transportation.
Oof. That is a great way to put it. Well, for everyone listening in Panama City, keep an eye on those charrette results coming out of the January meetings. That is going to tell us a lot about whether the Bootstrap vision can actually deliver a waterfront people love.
Absolutely. The designs from Dover and Cole will be the next big signal. We'll see if the MVP is enough.
We will be watching closely. Thanks for diving deep with us today.
Always a pleasure.